morning, everyone. Or good day, wherever you are.
That's right.
I'm Rick Zanotti, and here we are. This is our 50th.
50! I feel old. Look at the wrinkles.
50th episode. We actually did 50 of these, believe it or not. And today we've got a very special guest, and then we have a very odd guest. So, Gina, would you like to introduce our very special guest?
I'll introduce the special guest. Because I don't know what the odd one is. That might be me. But, yeah, I'm excited because Cheryl Lawson is with us, but most people know her as Party Aficionado. And she is a social media queen, but really in the events industry uses social media for events. So welcome, Cheryl. We're going to talk about a couple things.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hello, and happy anniversary. That's so exciting.
Thank you. I know. It's like, is 50th the golden anniversary?
I think so.
Rick, shouldn't you be presenting me with some golden item of some sort?
Oh, you'll get a golden item. Cheryl, since you're not live right now watching, you're going to have to see this later.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It will be really odd. I mean, different.
Now I'm really curious. I'm afraid.
Well, we're going to start with the other guest real quickly because it's only a 1 minute thing, and I know you're not watching right now, Cheryl, but
I'm going to watch.
Okay.
I'm going to tune into this.
Just know that it is a little different. Now, Gina, remember I told you that this guest was going to be from the other side?
Yes.
All right. This guest is from the other side. Are you familiar with quantum physics?
I studied it.
You studied it. Okay. Well, you know that there are parallel universes.
Oh, there are. I live in one.
Yes. And in fact, I found someone else who actually is a variation of you in a different universe. It's true.
Okay. My avatar?
No, not an avatar. Much, much better than an avatar. Anyway, this alternate Gina, if you will, is going to come join us in a moment. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Now, this takes a lot of power. So remember, you're going to hear some funny noises, and it takes a lot of power. I hope my fuses don't break here. So here we go. All right. Here is our special other guest.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gina Shriek from the other side. I was told here by Rick Zanotti he wanted me to talk about the 50th anniversary. I can't believe he did this. It doesn't work when I do it. When I'm on this side, things are just different. I'm missing things. Anyway, hold on. Let me let everybody know out there on Foursquare
Oh, my God.
where I am.
That's
I'm on this side, not the other side. Larry, Jeff, I know you want me. I can tell. Oh, Gina, have 50 more shows. See ya.
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry, I had to turn over and look at that.
Okay. First, Krista, I know you're out there watching the show. Krista is Rick's daughter. You and I need to go in therapy together, okay? After seeing that, I know your daughter needs therapy, Rick, so you better start saving money right now. That is hysterical.
That was Gina Shriek from one of the parallel universes.
That was horrifying. I need therapy.
Happy 50th, Gina.
Rick, happy 50th. 50 episodes, and you're still calling me on Tuesday mornings, so
Yes.
that's a good thing. Oh my gosh, I'm crying. That was truly horrifying.
And at the end of the show, when we're done, we have some outtakes from that, too. So,
Oh my gosh, yeah. Larry in the chat room says we all need therapy after watching that. Who was that woman? Jeff saying.
that was Gina Shriek.
Gina Shriek. Oh my gosh. Krista did your makeup? Okay, Krista.
Actually, Krista and wife.
Oh my gosh, I am crying.
That was my very first time and probably the last.
I'm speechless, right? Maybe that was your goal.
Hey, it worked. Okay, Cheryl, let's have a show.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
Oh
we
my
could
gosh,
probably
that was just so frightening and hysterical. Yes, and Krista, I did see those wedges. Those were nice wedge shoes.
You know,
As
this
you
is
spoke.
one of the few times I've had Gina quiet for a moment. This is pretty good.
What do I say to that?
You
That
know,
is
you
just,
can't mess with the other dimension. That's all I can say.
and you know what? Trust me, I'm no longer going to that dimension.
Bizarro
Shock.
Gina.
Okay, so now getting serious.
Now let's get serious and back to the show.
Oh my
my-
gosh. Well,
What did we
Cheryl is actually, and this is like a whole week with Cheryl. Her and I feel like Cheryl, you and I are partying all week starting today
That's
because Cheryl is putting on a conference in Tulsa called Social Media Tulsa, and you can follow the hashtag #SMTulsa. And but Cheryl, I want to actually find out from you because I don't know this about you. Is how did you transition from the events and party planning and event planning into this whole social, because you really do use social media hand in hand with your clients when you're putting together events. How did all that take place?
Well, it started once upon a time. No, it all began. Actually, it began listening to podcasts years ago, probably 2005 or so. I left the corporate America scene in mid 2004. So for my fellow entrepreneurs, you'll know I had tons of time on my hands. So I was really into listening to podcasts, and me and the Apple iTunes podcast channel were a 24-hour thing, and I listened to. It was a Business Week, and the cover of the December 2005 Business Week and the podcast was the MySpace generation. And children, MySpace is something that came before Facebook. But I listened to that, and it just kind of connected social with social. As an event person and a marketing person, I always found that the face-to-face or the social part of marketing was where I found the most creativity and the joy, because coming from the automotive industry, we did a lot of events and dealer meetings and car shows, and that was really a marketing tool that I don't think a lot of people recognize as marketing, right? The party as the marketing tool. And when I saw this kind of online party, if you will, I thought there's the connection with the new technology. And so I had a client at the time whose audience were 18 to 24-year-old girls. Well, MySpace was where they lived, not where they hung out sometimes or logged on once or 60% of the time, as we're hearing now. It's where they lived. So I created a page for this event and started sharing photos, and I started creating this thing that I like to say that the next day of my event, I want somebody to be in trouble. I want somebody to walk into the office of the person who didn't attend and say, "Why weren't you there?" And so using the social space and the internet was a way to create the buzz and keep it going and create communities that not only led up to an event or a conference, but then continued on and led us into the next one. So that's really how it got started. And then, of course, that migrated to using Facebook, which wasn't as effective, I'll tell you, as MySpace, because, the gaps in the audience were wider then. They weren't as specific. And then along came Twitter.
Now, Cheryl, do you still see that the difference between MySpace and Facebook?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
I think, MySpace has, Facebook has made some changes to get it closer to being able to connect that way with groups and those kind of things, but they're not as easily accessible to, somebody from the outside, right? You can create a group and hope that people come in and connect the way you want them to. But, with the old way of social, it was, if your friends were over there, you went to the party. You just went to where your friends were. Now, you might look at it and see, but you're not necessarily engaging with that. So, but Twitter, on the other hand, I think has become that place where you find the group of people that you're interested in or that you have some sort of similarities with, and then you can kind of keep that relationship. Or even if you jump into the hashtag once a week, it's still kind of that social atmosphere. And when we go to parties or we have events, it's the stories that we tell each other or that we have to tell each other that get us those next steps. It's the, hey, I met you on Twitter and now I'm meeting you face to face, or hey, we met online. Do you have a second to talk about an idea I have? Or, I mean, most of the people I meet now, we're in mid-conversation because we don't have to go through those awkward, here's who I am and here's what I do and here are my credentials.
Right. So when you're working with clients, do you typically find clients who are wanting to put on events and then you come alongside and kind of consult with them on how to add the social media aspects?
Most of the people now who contact me know that that's what I do. Know that I'm going to add social element. And what's interesting is being my own client with this social media Tulsa conference, I can test things and see what works and see how people react to different environments, whether it's, a Twitter community, whether it's Facebook, whether it's, Google Plus, which, there is a community there, but not as active, but still informative. So most people come to me knowing that they're going to get some sort of social and they're going to get the buzz about their event.
And I know I got a tweet. No, it wasn't a tweet. It was actually Google on Google Plus. The person you have doing the live, I love the new things popping up, live plussing during the event.
I mean, it was difficult to find somebody to come and just talk about Google Plus because then you might have, 3 people in the session. But I thought, find the person that's most active on Google Plus, and that's what I did. And the community that has become our conference is what I highly suggest to other people doing events and trying to use social. You can't just start it today and end it at the end of the event and then hope that the next year you can do the same thing. I mean, Social Media Tulsa started in 2010, and it has continued with monthly meetups, with Twitter, with Facebook. I mean, we are social. We connect face-to-face and online all the time. And so, one of our community members was pretty active on Google Plus, and I just reached out to her and I said, hey, would you be interested in covering the conference via Google Plus? And, of course, that being where she found her favorite social network. She was ready for it, and I just got an email today, and she's all excited about it. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. Which I think is interesting because so much of what I always talk about at events is the before, during, and after, and how important the before the conference is to connect people using social media. During the conference, there's a lot that can go on, a lot of learning and sharing, and all the sharing helps market the event for the next time for those who couldn't be there. But the after the event is so critical, like you just said, to keep that, to bridge people from the end of the event, bridge them and keep them engaged so that you're not having to market as heavily for the next event.
Right, and I think it's the photos, it's the videos, it's all of the content that people will be sharing during the conference that you can use throughout the next year or however long it will last. And it's almost, I'm going to get in trouble with event professionals, but it's almost more important than that post-conference survey. Because the only people that see that survey is me and people on my team. And yeah, we can make some changes. But the thing that is the biggest bridge to the next conference is the blog posts, the tweets, the photos, the videos of people who are experiencing your event that you can then use to say, see, this is what happens here. And here are the... Yeah, go ahead.
What's interesting, as you're talking, I thought, okay, how can a small business person or large business for that matter use events as a marketing tool, because what we're talking about is engaging an audience of potential customers and customers, keeping them connected with you and engaged with you over a long period of time. And I'm thinking, okay, did you create Social Media Tulsa kind of as a way to showcase things that you did initially?
Initially. Well, you know, relocating back to, in relocating back to my hometown, you know, it was, I thought, well, this meetup thing, right? Because I knew about meetup.com. I'd actually started an account but hadn't done anything with it. And then Mashable was doing their social media day. And it was, you know, 2 weeks ahead. And it said, hey, would you like to organize it? Well, okay, I can organize an event. That's not a problem. And I thought, well, this would be an opportunity because I've not lived here as an adult and as a business person. This would be an opportunity for me to connect with other business professionals, potential clients, and show them what I do. Right. And what really started happening as we were meeting monthly and, you know, just going to local restaurants, you know, sometimes we'd have speakers, sometimes not, most of the times not. You know, we're very social. But people started coming to the group wanting to learn.
Right.
So that just kind of, you know, light bulb moment was, okay, as an educator and a marketer, those things just make sense. And so we still stay social most of the year, and we do a lot of community things. And then this conference has become the time where people can come and get the learning from not only our own internal thought leaders, but people like you and Liz and Becky who are coming in from outside of our circle normally, but that can share stuff that we, you know, that we can all learn from.
Yeah, tell us who you have. You have, I'm coming and speaking about the new social consumer. You have Liz Strauss.
Liz Strauss will be opening on Thursday. We have Becky McCrae, who's coming in to talk small town values, and Becky was our keynote speaker last year. So I'm excited that, you know, I think that says something that she wants to come back and talk to our group. And then we've got Filiberto Gonzalez is coming from Los Angeles to Tulsa, which is so exciting. Everybody's coming from a distance to talk about nonprofits in social media and how nonprofit organizations, why they should be using it, and some of the tools they need to start and to get started with using social media. One of our outstanding speakers from last year was Marty Coleman, and he tweets as the Napkin Dad. And his story, I remember, I'll tell you this really quickly, but last year, once the breakout session started, that's kind of when I go into my hole and actually have lunch and start looking at the tweets to see what's happening. And I saw a tweet that says, oh my God, the Napkin Dad just made me cry. And I thought, okay, either Marty's in there knocking people over the head, or his story is really resonating with people. And unfortunately, it was the latter. And you know, those are the kind of things that I hope that we can share at our conferences. You know, it's not so much that you have to be a social media expert, but you can be an expert in what you do and use social media. So hopefully that's the group of speakers. We have 17 different speakers, so I won't list them all here, but that's just a taste of what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I think as a marketing tool, I think we can get creative and come up with ways to use events to connect socially, to stay connected after an event with your brand, because your brand, although it's interesting because you've got this dual brand, you've got the Social Media Tulsa, and then you've got Party Aficionado.
Right.
Which one do you feel now you spend more? I mean, obviously this week you're spending more time at Social Media Tulsa, but are you finding yourself more engaged with the Social Media Tulsa than Party Aficionado?
Well, I think, you know, Party Aficionado is the organizer of Social Media Tulsa.
Okay.
And so that's how, so I am my client, right? Social Media Tulsa is a project of Party Aficionado. So I kind of keep it in that, in that space. So, but of course, right now I'm spending a lot more time in Social Media Tulsa, but And the reason I separated the two was because I think the importance of the local flavor. When I'm off in California or speaking at a conference, party aficionados talking about those kinds of things, and people who are interested in, my event geekiness can follow me there.
Right.
And then, when I'm local and, talking to people that I actually know face to face and who are connecting with me, that's where I spend time as Social Media Tulsa. But, in some spaces, I spend more time, much more so on Facebook. Party aficionado on Facebook has, unfortunately been not as kept as the Social Media Tulsa group, because we started Facebook as a group. And so, I felt like making those connections here was more important than trying to push my brand. Now, the unfortunate thing is that people who want to do events, are coming to me when I'm tied up with Social Media Tulsa. So.
Tulsa, yeah.
Now, Cheryl, do you use LinkedIn at all?
I do. And, LinkedIn is one of my favorite tools, and it's probably a secret tool that people don't necessarily understand from an event standpoint. It can get uber local. The groups on LinkedIn can keep people connected. Mm-hmm. And I like to be there. We have a Social Media Tulsa group on LinkedIn as well. And I like to be there because some people just want to be there, right? They don't want to get into, being social on Facebook or connecting on Twitter. So I definitely use that tool. Plus, I'm able to, connect with speakers and potential sponsors in that space. And that's where a lot of people prefer to be connected or contacted.
Which I like what you just said. It's really, some people say, well, we should choose one place and really build Facebook up, or just use Twitter. But you're saying go where people are, and you've got people that are really using LinkedIn. You've got people on Facebook, and you've got people on Twitter. At your conference, are there any unique tools besides Twitter, Facebook? Google Plus is unique in the sense that I haven't heard that a whole lot at conferences yet. Are there any other tools, social tools that you're using?
Yeah, actually, in one of our efforts to stay green, we'll be using the QR code quite a bit as a way to keep from printing a lot of paper. And then I just added a Pinterest session to the agenda. And what I'm hoping is that people who are using Pinterest will kind of just go there and start talking about how they're using it and what's fantastic about using Pinterest. And I loved your idea of, hey, we could start pinning photos from the conference and have them up on the screen. But I do think, Pinterest is the new kid on the block, and a lot of people are addicted to it already.
Yeah, every week we always say, let's see if we can do a show without the word Pinterest coming up.
We went 20 minutes without the word Pinterest. Only 20.
Sorry.
We need like a sound effect just for Pinterest.
If it was later in the day, I'd say drinking game, but okay. There we go.
I can't help it. It is like one of these things that it just keeps sneaking into conversation every week.
I know, and I've used Pinterest, and it's interesting. I did an infographic on Twitter about Twitter maybe a year ago, and it's been really popular, and I actually uploaded that or pinned that on Pinterest, and I'm seeing just the revival of that thing, right? So a lot of people are loving the infographic piece on Pinterest.
Well, Gina invited me to Pinterest about a week ago. I still haven't gotten on. I always forget, but I promise I will get on just to see what it is.
Yeah, one of my clients was really like, one of our products is really female focused, and we should be there. And I caution people about not that Pinterest isn't great, but before you go jump there, pay attention to how people, and if your target is women, and we know that Pinterest is primarily female, or that's what we've been told. Before you start creating or trying to do something there, pay attention to how people are using the site. They're not using this site like they're using Facebook, or like they're using Twitter, or like they're using Google Plus even. So pay attention to the things that are being pinned And if that's a fit in your market, I mean, if you're in the jewelry business, diamonds are a girl's best friend, pin away. Or if you're in the cupcake business, right?
That's right.
There's lots of diamonds and cupcakes in Pinterest.
That's true.
All you need now is shoes, and you got a perfect trifecta.
Oh, they're there, trust me.
Yeah. Oh, they're there. Just go to my board. I've got a whole board called shoes, shoes, shoes. Yeah, it is interesting to see at conferences now different tools that people are using, how people are using photos more, sharing videos. And again, they're typically sharing them on these other social sites. But I just think it is much more of a social experience when you go to a conference and you're there and you're sharing what you've learned through all of these avenues, which again, it's great for learning and great for the attendees, but it's a great marketing tool. And I think we can all look for ways that we can do like you did and create this event that now is in its, this is the third year, isn't it?
Second year of the conference.
Of the conference, that really has become a life of its own that people look forward to. They stay connected through tweet chats, like you said, and these monthly events. So, what a cool way to market your business is become this leader in your industry. This weekend, when we were out house hunting in Palm Springs, and it was interesting how my husband finds a realtor, because both in Phoenix and here in Palm Springs, he went on a social site called Zillow. And it's a realtor. There's two of them, Trulia and Zillow, and I'm going to try and get one of them on our show. But it's a site that you can go on and you plug in all your things that you're looking for, and then it will give you houses in your range. Well, you can also ask questions, and realtors pay a fee to be kind of featured on those sites. They pay a marketing fee, and then they can answer questions. Well, what impressed my husband about this realtor in Palm Springs was she was ranked the highest because she answered so many questions of people. So she was very active on this site, on Zillow. And then he sent a message to her via Zillow, and she was back to him immediately. And then via text and social sites, we kind of were checking her out. And she was very active socially, which was interesting, the whole thing of how this social media has changed every industry, but because she had kind of branded herself in her niche as an expert, at least a perceived expert to us when we were looking at this, it really did set her apart from her competition. And I thought, well, anybody can do this in their industry today. We have to find what are the social sites, like you said, Cheryl, where is my community hanging out? And where can I become an expert with my community, because it sets you apart from competition regardless of who that competition is.
Right. And I think that's really the key. I'm actually teaching an online class now for about meeting and events, and one of the things that I try to get my students to understand is that online branding and personal branding, and what's your internet footprint. And I always tell them, have you Googled yourself? And not finding anything about yourself isn't always a good thing. If I'm an employer looking to hire you, today everybody's using either Google or LinkedIn or some social network to find out about you. If you have a blog that shares your point of view, or you're participating in the social media group in your city, that gives me that understanding that you know the tools, especially as an event producer. Now, I'm a small business, but just think about a larger event company who is looking for either employees or volunteers or interns, and they want to get social. It would be great if you know the tools. So now I don't have to teach you. I don't have to go and try to figure things out. I can say, okay, Jane is really heavy and into Twitter, so she can handle our Twitter stuff and help us create our Twitter strategy. And this person is has a blog, and maybe we can make them the guest blogger leading up to and after the conference. And so if you are positioning yourself as an expert, whether it's an expert in a field or just what is your point of view on these topics.
Right.
Then it makes it easier for the employer or for the event producer to say, hey, I'm gonna touch you on the shoulder and ask if you can be a part of this. And that really gives the big picture of personal branding, or even just your internet footprint, if you will.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just think it's all of us need to look at all these tools that are out here. How are we using them to get our expertise wider spread? I mean, I have to shout out our realtor in Palm Springs is Brittany Schur, and shout out to you, Brittany, because we were impressed. Her responsiveness, her savviness made us see her expertise over someone who, I'm not saying she's not the most experienced or has the most expertise, but when you're in a social arena, you may not be the top dog, but you can be the top dog faster using these social tools because you can reach a mass audience. And I just think it's, all of us need to look at that, regardless of what position we hold or whether we own a business or not. How are we getting out there and branding ourselves in our markets?
Right.
And you've done a fabulous job, Cheryl. You've become the social media maven in Tulsa. I mean, and then that's gone beyond Tulsa, but you probably, if somebody comes to Tulsa or anywhere in Oklahoma and they talk social media, your name probably pops up because you've branded yourself so well.
Well, and I hope that has happened, and really what's more important is that the people that are a part of this conference that are local, people like Mandy Vavrinac, who is kind of the PR maven here. She's also the social media maven. And so I'm as interested as I am in my own branding. I'm more interested in making sure that the people in our group get their exposure, right? The photographer who takes the pictures, right? Most of the times we have her on staff, right, at our meetups, at our conferences, because her pictures become then what everybody uses on their social sites, whether they're tweeting them or putting them as their Facebook profile. It was really fun to see after last year's conference how many people used the pictures that she took of them at our conference as their new avatar.
Oh,
now,
interesting.
I mean, you can't buy that. You can't pay for that. Right? So, and everybody wants to know, who took that picture? Well, okay, yeah, our banner's in the background. But then, our friend Tiffany gets calls to get, she's done my family portrait. She's done portraits of my dog. I think just about everybody in our group has hired her or plans to hire her to do their professional photos. So it's as important to me that the people in our community get the exposure as it is for me to get the exposure.
Which, that's a good point, because you mentioned your dog and exposure. You're also bringing to light a charity that's near and dear to your heart.
Yes.
And you're tying this in with social. Tell us about that.
So our official charity sponsor, we always have one. Last year it was Breast Impressions and our friend Judy Grove. This year it is the Humane Society of Tulsa. And for those of you who don't know, my dog tweets. And yes, she has more followers than I do. I've not been able to catch up with her. But, it was really kind of an accident. When I was tweeting as Party Aficionado with my logo, and Gina was part of that story too, but I was out on walks and tweeting things like, "Oh, it's a beautiful day, it's a wonderful day," and I thought, okay, my people following me for business don't want to see this, so I created the account for the dog.
I'm a Jack Russell.
I'm a Jack Russell. I am a Jack Russell, and I had written a children's book about my dog. And it was just that. It was a story between my family members, but on her profile, I put, "Hi, my name is Precious. I'm a Jack Russell. I'm 5 years old. I wrote a book. Look for it soon." And of course, then that's where I could tweet her pictures, and it's a beautiful day, and here's what she's chasing, and here's a video of Precious being a Jack Russell, and just having a good time in the voice of my dog. And one day, one of her Twitter followers said, "Hey, Precious, when's your book coming out?" Wait, what? Okay. Had not really thought about that. And so I took her followers on the journey of finding an illustrator, getting the copyright, the self-publishing the book. And one of, the first book sold to one of her Twitter followers in New Zealand. And so that just tells you that whatever it is that you want to do, what you have a passion for, what you have fun doing, can turn into opportunities beyond anything that you can imagine. I've been asked, and I say we have been asked, Precious and I have been asked to speak at conferences. One of my event friends, Denise, has created Bark World Expo, which is the social media conference for pet-related people and businesses.
Gosh, and so I love it.
We've actually been able to go to this conference and meet with all of the people behind the animals and some of the animals, because of course Bark World allows you to bring your dog. And so I've spoken at that conference for a couple years, and it was there the first year that I met Rick Rockhill, who is the marketing vice president at Natural Balance. And so Rick and I started a conversation and just started connecting offline and online. I did his blog talk radio show shortly after we met in 2010, and we just kind of stayed in touch online. And then the second year, Rick, I had the opportunity to go back to Bark World, and I approached Rick to see if Natural Balance wanted to sponsor Precious and my trip and provided books to everybody at the conference. And of course, they came on board and bought 250 books for everybody at that conference. So now I don't have to go and schlep books. Right. I can go and do my session and have a good time at this conference. And so now all of a sudden we have sponsors. My dog has corporate sponsorship. and,
all through social media, which is so amazing.
Done any marketing whatsoever. And now we're in this contest to get my books on the shelf at Walmart. I'll send you the link so you can share it. But it was a contest that I entered, and people can vote to get my dog's books on the shelf at Walmart. But it really is something that's important to me. And then we started turning into, hey, I'll go to the petfinder.com and start tweeting all of the Jack Russells in Tulsa that need to be adopted, right? Now, my dog has a platform. Why don't I then talk about things that can be done and can make a difference? And, one of the videos we did at the doggy daycare was of a Dalmatian that needed a home. Took a video, interviewed the person behind the charity with my little, ZI-8 camera, edited a little bit. I'm not very good at editing. I'm not as good as you guys are. But I edited it, uploaded it on, I'm a Jack Russell's YouTube channel. And within days, I had an email from somebody who saw that video and said she fell in love with Deuce. Deuce was his name. And had already contacted the organization to make arrangements to adopt Deuce.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome!
So I mean, the things that you enjoy doing and the thing that you have a passion for can realize themselves using social media. So our charity is the Humane Society, and Natural Balance will be donating food for every like to Tillman the skateboarding dog, which is their new doggy, for every like on Tillman's Facebook page during our conference.
Okay, so Tillman's Facebook page, so it's facebook.com/
Tillman Skates.
TILLMAN?
Yes.
Tillman Skates. Okay, so I'm putting that on the chat room. Facebook.com/ Tillman Skates.
By the way, Gina, are there any comments in the chat room?
Larry definitely says his dog refuses to have a Twitter account because he's afraid once he starts, he'll be on it constantly and it'll take away from his main activity of sleeping.
Well, virtual squirrel chasing and virtual naps are welcome. But you'd be
But you have
amazed
some more
at
to
the
tweet about.
community of pet people. It's amazing.
Will Precious be at the Social Media Tulsa conference?
There have been rumors that Precious will make an appearance during my session. My session is Who Let the Dogs Out.
I love it.
I don't usually like to talk during an event that I'm actually organizing, but because of the tie-in with the Humane Society, I just thought it was something that pet-centered people and people
Right.
who might want to go there. The community is really supportive. There's charitable. How do I say this? Paw parties, PAWTY, where the pet Twitter community gets involved in every weekend. And they raise a lot of money.
Again, look at how you've created another brand for your dog that is doing good, that's raising money, it's just awesome. I think it's really cool, and it sparks a lot of creative ideas for me. So,
and we've reached the end of the show. It's been 45 minutes.
I know, I can't believe
goes fast.
And Cheryl, and tonight, if anybody wants to join, I'll be hosting the Social Media Tulsa chat tonight, SM Tulsa on Twitter, and it's at 4 p.m. my time, so that's 3 p.m. Pacific, and that is 5. Is that 6 p.m. Tulsa or 5?
5 p.m. Tulsa.
Because that's Central Time. I can never remember.
I know. It's
Awesome. Cheryl, I can't wait to see you in person for the first time on Thursday.
And good luck at the show.
Thank you so much. I know it's going to be fabulous.
And thank you to all the wonderful people in the chat room this morning. And Dawn, I know Dawn has been in and out. Just watch the replay. It's frightening. It's fun. It's fabulous.
Anyway, you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week on SchreckTeck.
Bye, everyone. Have a great week.
Conan never looked this good.
Okay, so
Larry?
Was that all right?
are we live? We're live? We're not live.
We're
We're still live.
I know you want me.
Oh.
Gina, 50 more shows, you can do it. I know it. I did it.
See, and Barb's in the chat room. Barb's a big...
It doesn't work when I do it on this side. Hello? Hello?
My name is Thor.
I need to get another dog.
Like the string that's hanging in front
I
of
might need to adopt...
the other side.
I may never work again, but it doesn't matter. I did this for love.
If I had an Uru hammer, Larry, would you like it?
Oh, my gosh.
I've got to go and see the whole